This is part 3 of the 20-minute interview that took place between actor Charlie Sheen and the President of the United States, Barak Obama. CS shall refer to Charlie Sheen. PBO will be President Barack Obama. To continue. CS. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the stack of documents in the folder I just handed you. The first from the top is entitled Operation Northwoods, a declassified Pentagon plan to stage terror attacks on U.S. soil, to be blamed on Cuba as a pretext for war. PBO. And I'd like to direct your attention to the fact that the principal draftsman of this improbable blueprint was quickly denied a second term as Joint Chiefs Chairman and sent packing to a European NATO garrison. Thank God his otherworldly ambitions never saw the light of day. CS. I wouldn't be so certain about that, Mr. President. PBO. I could easily say the same to you, Charlie. The President checks his watch. Featured stories. Sorry, wrong thing there. President checks his watch. CS. The next document reads, Declassified Staged Provocations. Now, honestly, Mr. President, I wish I was making this stuff up. I'm certain you're familiar with the USS Maine incident, the sinking of the Lusitania, which we all know has brought us into World War I, and of course the most famous, the Gulf of Tonkin incident. PBO, of course I am familiar with these historical events, and I'm aware that there's a measure of controversy surrounding them. But to be quite frank with you, this is all ancient history. CS. Mr. President, it has often been said, those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. And I concede to you, sir, these events are the past. PBO. A vastly different world, young man, shouldering a radically disparate state of universal affairs. CS. No argument, sir. I'm merely inviting you to acknowledge some credibility to the pattern or the theme. Case in point. The next document in your folder. It was published by the think tank Project for a New American Century, and it's entitled Rebuilding America's Defenses, and was written by Dick Cheney and Jeb Bush. To quote from the document, sir, the President interrupts. PBO. Further, the process of transformation, even if it brings revolutionary change, is likely to be a long one, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event, like a new Pearl Harbor. CS. Touché, sir. Your thoughts on this statement, Mr. President? PBO. I would call this a blatant case of misjudgment fueled by an unfortunate milieu of assumption. For some, the uninformed denial of coincidence. CS. Interesting angle, sir. Nevertheless, Vice President Cheney didn't stop there. In early 2008, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh and MSNBC both reported that Cheney had proposed to the Pentagon an outrageous plan to have the U.S. Navy create fake Iranian patrol boats to be manned by Navy SEALs, who would then stage an attack on U.S. destroyers in the Strait of Hormuz. This event was to be blamed on Iran and used as a pretext for war. Does any of this information worry you, Mr. President? Should we just ignore it until these realities can be dismissed years from now by our children as ancient history as well? PBO. Of course this information worries me, yet it's not nearly as worrisome as you sitting here today suspiciously implying that September 11th was somehow allowed to happen or even orchestrated from the inside. CS. Mr. President, I am not suspiciously implying anything. I am merely exposing the documents and asking the questions that nobody in power will even look at or acknowledge. And as I stated earlier, I voted for you. I believed in your message of hope and change, Mr. President. I have come to you specifically hoping for a change in the perception that our government has not yet made itself open and accountable to the people. These are your words, Mr. President, not mine. The lives of thousands were brutally cut short, and those left behind to suffer their infinite pain are with me today, Mr. President. They are with me in spirit and flesh, and the message we carry will not be silenced anymore by media-fueled mantras insisting how they are supposed to feel, deciding for them for 8 long years what can be thought, what can be said, what can be asked. PBO. And I appreciate your passion. I appreciate your conviction. In spite of your concerns, in spite of what your data might or might not reveal, what you and the families must understand and accept is that we are doing everything we can to protect you. I'm going to stop here and continue in the next video.